Let's get in a word from our correspondent Kamaljeet Sandhu, who's with us live this morning from the national capital. Kamaljeet, lots on the agenda. The big question on everyone's minds, will Prime Minister Modi talk tough on issues of security? We do know that almost 1,000 PLA soldiers have intruded inside Indian territory, and this happened last night.
Well, definitely so. It's tough times ahead for Narendra Modi. He has one of the biggest guests from the China, and obviously he has to talk tough. And obviously we've seen earlier that during UPA regime, it was the BJP which had upped the ante against the Congress, saying that India was not talking tough, the foreign policy was weak. And while the Chinese president is very much here, he has to talk the tough lines. And obviously Mr. Doval, who is the NSA, is keeping a close eye on the Chumur development as to how the PLA army as well along with the civilians are very much on the disputed area and obviously are having a show of strength there. But obviously in between talks as well as all the social dues, this is something that India is going to be talking about. It has been made clear by the Ministry of External Affairs. We are very much at Tagore International School where the First Lady Peng Yuan is expected in some time. So obviously China is expected to charm the Indians with all that soft power, but the real tough talking needs to be done between the Prime Minister as well as the President of China, and we'll really have to see whether India can talk the walk, especially on the words regarding not only the Chinese incursions which have been happening over the past few months, but also about Arunachal Pradesh and obviously a part of it which was shown as disputed by the Chinese delegation which had come to Ahmedabad as well.
Right, and Kamalji, the reason why the situation is so tricky for the Narendra Modi government is because it's also eyeing major business deals with China.
Well, definitely, obviously, with the sort of population between China and India, they are 2/3 of the population of the world. But definitely, this is not just about the niceties and the talks. This is also about having resolving the disputes. And obviously, with China, with India now having talks with both Japan as well as Vietnam, this is something which has made the China very much edgy. So this is the time that India wants to yield its power. But definitely, it's Narendra Modi and how he takes forward his entire meeting. So far things have gone up very well. There have been photo ops, there have been niceties, there have been a song which has been sung, but definitely there have to be talks regarding tough issues which includes the border disputes, which includes the Chinese transgressions. There have been at least 1,600 of them in the past 5 years. So obviously will India be able to bring that to the table and will talk tough to China? That really needs to be seen. And not just this, it's obviously also business and investment. China has a huge market, and obviously China has been lending its own power as far as the market interest goes, and obviously being close neighbors, it's important that China has good relations with Pakistan. But will India be able to get that particular power and be able to have those particular good talks and good relations which is in the interest of both the country? That needs to be really the focus now.
Kamaljeet, stay on with us. We're also reporting on tight security arrangements that have been made by the Delhi police in view of Chinese president's visit. Hotel Taj Palace, the Chinese president is staying along with his delegation, has been barricaded off. No Tibetan protesters are being allowed to enter the New Delhi district. Section 144 has been imposed in the central district for the day. As a preventive measure, the Delhi police has reportedly detained 10 Tibetan protesters who will be released after President Xi's visit. Kamaljeet Sandhu is with us live from the national capital. Kamaljeet, massive security arrangements being made for the Chinese president. The preventive custody of Tibetan protesters is likely to face some kind of protest by other social activists as well.
Well, definitely so, and obviously the Indian government doesn't want any embarrassment, and we've seen over the past few years, including yesterday, that there have been Tibetans who've been wanting to rush across to the Chinese embassy, or they have other points like the Jantar Mantar and Majnu Ka Tila. That's where they actually do collect as well as protest. So this is something which is seen as an extremely high-profile visit. India doesn't want to embarrass its own guests, and even though there has been a lot of people, including Tibetans, in exile while who have been residing in India, they've been making their voices very much known and very much clear. But this is not the right time, and that's what the Indian government really thinks. And that is why there's a multiple tier security, Delhi police, the paramilitary, the sharpshooters, major security very much in place all over Delhi, especially in the places where the President Xi and his wife is expected to go and visit. So this is something which is like a red carpet laid out for the Chinese guests, but definitely they don't want any embarrassment, and that is why there's a choke-a-block as far as security system is concerned.
All right, Kamalji, thanks so much for that update. We're going to keep coming back to you through the day. This is the big story. We're tracking Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Xi Jinping to hold talks in the national capital.